So Ugarte apparently is on his way to Chelsea or PSG. The player has accepted terms that Chelsea and PSG have offered him, and now it's about time to agree a deal with Sporting Lisbon. We'll get into the details, I'll explain the nuts and bolts. Then we need to talk about Mason Mount. Mason Mount basically has his farewell goodbye tour around Stamford Bridge. You've got Mauricio Pochettino being officially announced, and I'll tell you what's going to be happening in the next few days. And more importantly, and this is the key, the 5 homegrown players that are going to be getting sold to make sure that Chelsea don't have any issues with FFP. So before we get started, I know every single one of you is going to be talking now. What's going on, Alex? You're in a different place. Listen, I'm chilling in my garden on the egg chair. My wedding is on Saturday. I've got like a whole host of family and friends that have arrived from abroad. So obviously, man can't be recording in the same place that I normally would be recording. But I really apologize about the quality. I don't have the ring light. You lot are just gonna have to put up with poor quality videos in the visual sense. But the content will be the same for at least the next 5 days. So please appreciate it. I really like it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Really help me out during this period. I really appreciate it, and I will remember it. Now, let's get into the video. So when it comes to Manuel Ugarte, this is the player that everyone's been asking for a while. Maybe not the individual, maybe not the Uruguayan international, but everyone's been asking for the number 6, the destroyer, the combative midfielder that's going to be the balance to explore full attributes of Enzo Fernandez. But now we are going actively after this player. It looks like PSG are willing to activate the £60 million for Manuel Ugarte. They are willing to pay the money. Benfica, Sporting understand this. Chelsea are actively pursuing the deal, and they want to pay it in their small installments. I think that's very important to understand. This player has a release clause, and this is a very similar process to what happened with Enzo Fernandez. Remember when Chelsea wanted to pay the money, but they did not want to pay it up front. And in this case, Sporting are now trying to exploit the situation. Sporting are trying to understand that this is their situation to go and get as much money for this player as possible. They've agreed deal with the player already. Sporting understand the player wants to leave. He has a deal with PSG, and he has a deal with Chelsea. He's currently on 750,000 euros a year. Chelsea and PSG are offering 6.5 million. Let that sink in. He is getting nearly 8 times more money for moving clubs. This is amazing. This is what he's going to be receiving, and he deserves it. Good on him. I'm all about people getting their bag. I'm all about people getting their paper, and he evidently deserves it. So we need to be positive, and we need to be nice to him. Whether he selects Chelsea is going to be tough to understand. The reason being is don't have Champions League football. We're not, in my opinion, at this moment in time, as ambitious as a PSG, but we can sell him on a project, and we can hopefully sell him on the idea of being at Chelsea Football Club and what comes with it. One way we can do this is by actually just coughing up the money. I think that's important, and I think we need to... So now we need to talk about the other aspect. We need to talk about what's been going on at Chelsea and the good news. Mauricio Pochettino has been announced, and Mauricio Pochettino is an individual that has been touted to become the next Chelsea manager, to the point now where it's anticlimactic, right? We already knew this man was going to be the manager, but we've got the details. He got a 2+1 year deal. This means he gets 2 years to guarantee success at Chelsea. Otherwise, Donny is going to be kicked out. And that's the reality of it. So we need to be honest, and we need to be open about what we're looking at this moment in time. He's going to have 2 years plus an option from the club, most probably to renegotiate him to a nicer deal. What does this mean? Well, it means very simple things. Apparently, he has got a range of players that he's interested in, but to make this happen, Chelsea need to sell. And the reason they need to sell is because we need to balance the books. And the 5 players that TalkSport is reporting that are going to be on their way. Number 1 being Conor Gallagher. Chelsea are trying to cash in on Conor Gallagher. There's a lot of suitors, and the value that is being reported amongst other multiple sources is around about £40 million. Chelsea believe they can get this profit straight onto the balance book, and it'll be amazing. An individual number 2 that could be potentially moving on is Trevor Chalobah. Trevor Chalobah is a phenomenal young player, in my opinion, that has a role in this squad. And if we keep him, I'm going to be very happy. If we let him go, I'm not going to be too upset. Reason being is because he deserves to play. The value that we're looking to get is around about 5 million to 30 million pounds for him. So as you can see, with the 2 players, if we're thinking of the high end of what we could receive, it's already around 75 million pound pure profit. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is touted to be going to AC Milan. Chelsea are asking for a fee of around about £20 million, and that is good business, because Ruben's career is really stagnated for a man of his ability. I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek gets a hard feeling from everyone else. You know, everyone really sticks it on the man. Everyone really is anti the man. And the reason being they're anti him, because they want him to be something that they had infatuated pre-injury. So after he came back, all of a sudden they're just expecting him to be most probably something that he's not. And that is causing a distortion of really judging what the man's real ability is. So getting 20 million for him now with 1 year left on his deal is good business. The next player that we're going to be moving on is Callum Hudson-Odoi. When I tell you I'm really heartbroken that this player is leaving, I'm not exaggerating. I had a lot of stock into this player. I remember when Eden Hazard left, there was a notion that this was the next person up. Anyone that supported Chelsea at the time will say, anyone that banters me for it now, brother, you weren't supporting Chelsea at the time, because everyone's so heavily invested into this kid. That injury against Brighton, travesty, because it really set him back. It made him less explosive. It really took away what he had. He was on par to a level of a Saka. That's how explosive he looked. That's how amazing he looked. He was potent, dangerous, willing to take someone on, weight of pass, inventiveness, range of passing. He was really stepping into a nice role, and we really had a good blend of experience with youth. We had Reece James potentially coming back next year. We were integrating Ruben Loftus-Cheek. We were integrating Callum Hudson-Odoi. We were really putting him around Kovacic, Jorginho, the experienced heads. We had a good Olivier Giroud with a Higuain fighting out. Yes, they weren't prolific, but they were in a system that worked. And Callum's injury sent him backwards, and it really shamed. And finally, the last player that we'll be looking to move on is Mason Mount. And I'll cover the Mason Mount angle after this, because I think it's important we talk about it. Because what happened to him today at the end of the game was very upsetting, and we need to talk about it. But the reason we're moving these youngsters on, and people are going to say we're losing our culture, is because the next batch are coming through. We know that this batch are not ready to be here as starters, and the majority of them want to move on. But now we've got the next batch of youngsters coming through, and it's time for them to get the squad role opportunities, because we potentially want them to be good enough. Number one being Lewis Hall. Number two, Carney Chukwuemeka, and more so other youngsters coming through. And maybe a Bashir Humphreys, maybe potentially bring in an Ian Matson. Like, we need to be honest and open about this. I know it's going to be hard to let go of these youth, but in this case, we need to trust ourselves that the club are doing the right decision. Finally, we need to talk about Mr. Mason Mount. At the end of the game yesterday, a lot of players walked around the pitch. They got a good round of applause, goodbyes, and it was like literally a thank you moment. And I really appreciated that for some players. For example, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, the Lewisham ballot. We all called him that, we all loved him, and we all love him. We think he's a great player. We have Cesar Azpilicueta, our captain, moving on, and it's his final season at Chelsea, allegedly. We've got Mason Mount at the end of the game, walking around clapping. I love it. And a lot of people were very negative about this. A lot of people were very, very nasty. I'm going to even use that word. Reason being that I'm saying they're nasty is because they're being assholes about it. They actively were sticking it on him for doing it. I think that's not nice. I think Mason Mount has done a lot for this club, in the sense that he won us a league, he won us a Carabao Cup, he won us a Super Cup. A lot of you are going to say, no he didn't, it's a team effort. Yes, but he was part of the team, and he was a vital part of that team, and we need to respect it. I am not saying give him a new deal. I'm not saying re-sign him. Personally, I would sell him, but I think we need to respect him, and that is very important. So guys, hit the like button. I appreciate all of you watching it. If you made it this far, you're a real G, and please tell me in the comments below how bad are the graphics. I think I'm going to need to buy an extension lead. The reason I'm going to buy an extension lead is so I have a ring light, so it makes this actually look kind of cool. Let me know if the background noise was bad. I want to improve these videos as much as possible towards the evenings, so that it just bangs, and I want to continue to produce content. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Adios.